Did you become the DJ that you are now?
Well, I can't really remember when it all began, but all I do remember is that I had a great passion for entertainment. And before everything else started, I was basically a promoter. So I used to put together gigs, and yeah, pretty much that's what I used to do. Now, I had a problem with one of the guys that I used to work with in the past. When I put down together gigs, let's say a gig was starting at 20, and I had headlined a couple of DJs, and some of them would show up at 22, and that would make me look so bad because I was the guy doing the promotion, I was the guy creating the hype about the event. So one day I just woke up and said, you know what, I'll do this. So I started.
That's how you started
DJing,
DJing.
yeah.
Cool. And
Yeah.
what type of music would you say inspires you as a DJ?
Listen, my parents are very musical. They're still alive, by the way. Both my parents are very musical people. I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up in the 80s partly, but mostly I'm a 90s kid. So for me, the type of music that I relate to the most and the music that I play the most is the music I grew up on. Like I play a little bit of the 80s, I'll play a little bit of the 90s, but then throughout my life I parted so much. A lot of people back in the day used to call me VJ the baller because and nobody partied more than me. I was always
You're
out
always
there
at the clubs.
partying in the 2000s. So pretty much I'm very good when it comes with 2000s especially. I'll throw in a couple of 90s because I'm also a 90s child.
Yeah.
And then I'll throw on a couple of records I heard in the 80s when my parents played music. So I like to be versatile. I still play new school and I'm very good at new school. The only problem I have with playing new school is that everybody plays new school.
Yeah.
So I tried to be different. So I'll play a lot of old school stuff, and then you won't see a new school record coming when I'm mixing. But when it comes, it creates so much of a good vibe and people love it.
Okay.
And I basically think that's what sets me apart from the rest.
Okay, now speaking of a good vibe and how people accept your music, do you think people want to listen to, 2000s music, 90s music, or they'd rather listen to the new school music?
The thing is, the people just want to have a good time. It doesn't matter whether it's old school music or new school music, as long as a record was a great record. Even if you play it in 2021, a record from 1981, people will still vibe to it. So the problem I have pretty much with playing new school stuff is that everybody plays that kind of music. So I'm not going to be different if I'm also playing the same type of music. So I feel I do a better job setting the mood right, playing more of old school records than new school records.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, being a DJ, there's lots of things that you encounter, meeting different people. How would you say, or what would you say the experience of a DJ, like the life of a DJ, as everybody would say? How would you think, is there even such a thing as the life of a DJ?
There is actually, yeah. First of all, in this country, and this is why I started DJing on a professional level. First of all, in this country, people tend to look down on DJs because they feel a person becomes a DJ because they failed in life. They can't do anything else. Professionally, I'm an accountant. I put on hold my accounting profession to be a DJ, you know what I mean? So I've done office work, but I just felt I needed to do this thing to prove people wrong that feel being a DJ in this country, you never go anywhere. I'm making a good life, a good living out of DJing, you know what I mean? So already that's testimony that DJing could actually be a life. So I have a life out of DJing.
Okay. Now, does being a DJ obviously around people a lot, like I mentioned before, do you think that contributes to, people drinking too much alcohol, DJs drinking too much alcohol, having too many girls screaming your name because you're playing really good music? By that smile, I think so, yes.
Well, I'll be totally honest now. I got into DJing because I wanted to create a difference. In the past, DJs have always had like the best of girls, but look at where all these people have ended. They've all gone under. If you like so much girls, you spend all your earnings on girls, and pretty much you won't develop yourself. I'm trying to create a different type of look, a different brand. I've got to look good. I've got to buy new gear, new software, so I can keep my game on lock. So I pretty much don't focus on the girls too much. I mean, girls will always be there. I mean, you're a cool dude, you're playing nice music, girls will be there.
Yeah.
But you got to keep your eyes on the ball. There's another life there's a bigger picture apart from girls. But girls, I don't know what it is with girls and DJs though. Like,
Okay, well, you just mentioned how you have to keep your game on lock. Do you think that there's an immense amount of pressure for DJs to always have to know like the newest songs, the latest trends?
Yes, I think I tell people every day, even random people I meet, that I pretty much don't have enough sleep in a day because every after midnight I log on to the internet and I'm on the internet for 5 hours checking out new music, checking out old records, checking out what legends like Jazzy Jeff did. Kenyan DJs are doing big things. I'm always checking them out. Heavy K is doing big things. So there's always a lot of pressure to be on point with music. You have to be in touch with house music, Afri tunes, hip hop. It's so much pressure. Old school. Even if I was not in the 70s, but I'll still play a record from the 70s
Yeah.
only because I did my research. So yes, the pressure is always there.
Okay. Now, do you feel it's a very competitive world being a DJ? Do you think there's a lot of competition that takes place within the DJs?
Yes, there's a lot of competition, even in this country, although it's pretty much silent because it's not declared.
The war has not been
The
declared
war
yet.
has not been declared, but every day I wake up, or every time I go to a set, I find Hussein probably doing new things. He's scratching now, he's juggling now, and I don't want to sleep whilst my friends are scratching and juggling, So I also wake up the next day and I'm doing what they're doing, or even trying to do even better
Even
things,
better than them.
The pressure is there, competition is real, though it's undeclared.
But it's still there.
Yes,
Okay.
it's there.
Now, obviously, do you think people need to have a certain type of personality to go into DJing, or it's a free for all?
I don't think it's a free for all. I don't think it's a free for all. You need to have a certain type of personality. You need to be a people's person to be out there because we learn a lot from these people. If you're a close person, let's say you heard a record that I don't know
Yeah.
and you want me to play it, but since I'm so close, I won't give you an opportunity for you to tell me about that new record. So you have to be open-minded. You don't need to be a close person. And you just need to be alive, you know what I mean? People want to see and feel presence. So a DJ for me has to be an alive person, somebody whose presence they can feel, influential.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, could you highlight any of the challenges that you faced in your journey of being a DJ?
Challenges. Have I faced any challenges? Not really,
You
huh?
haven't faced any challenges. Wow,
no.
it's been an easy
No, for
ride
me
you.
it's been a good ride. It's been very smooth, and I feel it's because before I started DJing professionally, I had created a name for myself for other things, and I've listened to too much music my whole life. I've partied all my life, so I know what sort of music works and what sort of music doesn't work. I could start at 20 hours when there's no people. I'll play like I'm playing for 100 people, and I'll know exactly what sort of music to play for one person or two people or three people. I can play when there's 1,000 people. I know what exactly I have to play for 1,000 or 1,000,000 people. So for me, challenges, I haven't undergone any challenges. It's
Wow.
been a very, very smooth ride.
Very nice for you. Now, as a DJ, have you ever had any moments where you're playing music and the crowd is just not having it?
That's normal. That's normal. Sometimes especially when you drop a new song, in this country, people want to listen to, not just in this country, everywhere you go, patrons want to listen to music they know. So if you drop a new record and you don't introduce it, people will look at you like, what is he playing?
Yeah, like what is this?
So you need to be careful as you drop, especially a new record. You need to be careful. You need to at least create some sort of hype, like kind of like bring in the record. You know what I mean? You need to prepare the people. Other than that, this is why I don't have a playlist. When I go playing music anywhere today, right now, you can give me a set. I'll just start playing from without. I've got no playlist for one reason.
And what's
Sometimes you prepare a playlist, let's say a 90s playlist, and you go to a gig and you find there's new school kids. If you play that 90s music, they
They're
won't
not gonna
relate to
listen
it.
to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So for me, that's why I don't encourage people or any DJ out there to have like a playlist. Go. I mean, know your music and just go. And
Okay, so know your music.
yes, if you know your music, you know the crowd, you see what sort of people are there, and you play what works for them.
Okay, cool.
That actually reduces the chances of playing music and people don't respond to it.
Okay.
Back to your question. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. It really, really does. So, back to my question. Yes. Now, you mentioned that you are an accountant by profession. Could you just take us into that little world for a bit?
My accounting career, I started off at At Dunavant, there was a company that used to sell cotton. Back in the day, we used to buy cotton from farmers and export it. I worked at Dunavant for a couple. Then I worked for Nampak, Zambia. Then I worked, after Nampak, I worked one day for a company called Lions Group. And the same day I reported to work, Zambif was calling my phone and Zambif is Zambif.
You had to go there.
I had to go to Zambif. And my last accounting job was at Zambif. And after that, I decided I was gonna do my thing.
Okay.
And this is what I'm doing. And trust me, it's taking me places. I may have a gig this year in Australia.
Wow.
So I'm pretty much excited.
So you don't look back. You don't have any regrets from leaving your
Not at
accounting
all.
job?
Not at all. I mean, people call me names, this and this and that, but as long as the outcome is income, it's all good
as
for
long
me.
as the outcome is income.
Yeah.
Now, still speaking about accounting, was this your parents' decision for you to go into accounting, or did you also really enjoy accounting?
I did actually, because if I take you back to grade 8, I did bookkeeping in grade 9, and in grade 10 to 12, I did principles of accounts. So pretty much accounting is something that is in me, you know. I've done accounting too much, too long. So it's something I used to enjoy as well. I probably enjoy it today. It's just I don't like the long hours sometimes, especially at the month end. You have to do
extra work at
yes,
the month end.
at the month end.
You
There's
don't
always a
feel
lot
like
of pressure.
you could have merged accounting and DJing? You don't feel like that would have been a possibility or an option for you?
It could have been, only that when I started DJing, I needed for people to identify me as a DJ, see me in a different light, not as an accountant. So I had to put everything else on hold and just focus on DJing. You'll be amazed how well I've done at this. I know it because every other weekend I've got a gig or 2 or 3 other than my residency. So I know I've done very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I actually know a DJ who was actually working in a bank, but this is all the way in South Africa, and she was talking about how she left because she didn't really feel like that's what she wanted to do. And she also spoke about how her job at the bank actually helped her manage her finances to be the DJ that she is now. Would you say this is the same for you?
I would say that also works out in my best interest, because obviously having an accounting background, I do realize I have to account for every penny I get. So even as I get my gigs today, I'm not out there, you know, buying bottles and throwing it on girls. I'm doing a lot of saving actually, and everything that I spend is budgeted. I only go off budget if it's an emergency.
Okay. Now, on speaking about DJs, what would you say is the main reason that DJs don't really succeed
in this country?
Yeah.
In this country, the problem is simple. In fact, it's just one problem. DJs in this country don't want to brand themselves the right way. First of all, they want to take peanuts for a DJ set. This year, I've already turned down like 6-7 gigs because I felt the pay wasn't right.
That's a lot though, 6 or 7.
Yeah, I've turned down, this year is only February, I've had to turn down about 7 gigs because the pay wasn't just right. So, I mean, if you are going to accept 300 kwacha, some bottles of alcohol to DJ for a whole night whilst the owner of the club or a promoter makes money, they will never take you seriously. You see what I mean? So it all bottoms down to branding. DJs in this country, people are very talented in this country, but they don't want to brand themselves the right way. I mean, look at South Africa. Half the guys that come to our main events in Zambia do not even DJ as good as some of our Zambian DJs.
And yet they're paid so much money.
Yes, because they've branded themselves the way everybody else is supposed to be branded to make money. Branding is money. To me, that's what it is. And
do you think you have branded yourself in such a way that you actually receive money because of the way you've branded yourself?
Yes, the way I carry myself. You never hear VGZ was in a scandal. You never hear VJ, oh, this one $100. You never hear VJ DJ'd here for a beer or 300 kwacha. I try to handle my business in a very professional way. In fact, I actually send invoices to my clients. I send them quotes. I send them invoices. After they pay me, it's different. It's a business. In fact, this year, VGZ is no longer just going to be a DJ name. VGZ is going to be a company. It's going to be VGZ Limited. So I'm taking it to the next level. I'm just trying to do things differently.
And obviously, you would owe some of this knowledge to being an accountant, right?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Because I can hear the invoices and quotations.
I'm trying to put business. Look, at the end of the day, talent must transition into business. So my approach to this whole industry is like that. I've got a talent, but this
Turn it into
talent
a
must turn
business.
into a business. It must make me money.
Okay, very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, who would you say inspires you the most in Africa right now when it comes to DJs?
Well, first of all, let's not even go to Africa. Let's start with
Let's
Zambia.
start with Zambia, okay.
I'll start with Zambia. Zambia has this guy for me, just it makes it happen for me. DJ Hussein is like a superstar DJ for real.
For real, for
That
real.
guy inspires me on so many levels. And in Africa, I don't look up to these house music DJs because house music, everybody can play house music. So for me, I look up to a guy called John Faume from Kenya. This guy is a serious scratch DJ. He plays hip hop, Afri-tunes, house music, dancehall. He plays everything. So Africa, my inspiration is John Faume from Kenya. And worldwide is none other than Jazzy Jeff. Jazzy Jeff, the king.
Now, would you plan on trying to sort of reach the certain level that some of your inspirations are at?
Yes, like I would really want to be like Jazzy Jeff, you know, 30 years later and people are still screaming your name. I mean, that's major.
What inspires you the most about him, aside from, him being still so major after so long?
His mixing technique is very different. When you should take time out, take some time and go on YouTube and just check out how this guy does his thing effortlessly. It's like it's in him. He mixes records like you don't need to sweat, bruh. This is just a record.
He just does it.
Yes.
Okay.
So Jazzy Jeff inspires me on that level. He does this thing effortlessly. Perhaps because he's done it for so long, but I just like the way he brings records together, mixes in, mixes out, scratching. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Okay, what would you say are the hottest trends in DJing right now?
Scratch. If you're a DJ and you're not scratching,
Then you're not a DJ.
you're not a DJ. If you're a DJ and you're not using worldwide software Serato, you're not DJing. So those to me are the best trends for DJing right now.
And you're very good with these?
Yes.
Or you're still learning how to use
I'm
them?
still scratching can take up to 30 years. You never stop learning.
Wow.
So as far as I'm concerned, I've learned my bit. And any international DJ, like as big as Jazzy Jeff, if they heard me DJ today, they'll say this guy is going somewhere because I'm already on a comfortable position as far as scratching is concerned. So for me, if you're a DJ and you're not scratching in 2017, you're not
doing anything.
You're not DJing.
Okay. Now, something that's very uncommon in Zambia is, female DJs. We don't have a lot of those. I think there's only just one.
Yes.
What is your thought when it comes to, females and, shying away from DJing?
If I was a female in this country, I would want to DJ for a very simple reason, because as a female DJ, you don't even need to be as good. Just the fact that you're a female, you're pretty, and you're playing music, that you've sold already.
But don't you think that takes away from the actual essence of being a DJ?
No, it doesn't. Because you know what's going to happen in the long run? There will be so much hype about that, your name, as a female DJ, and you feel you have to live up to the name.
Okay.
So you actually get to put in some work.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Well, I guess let's appeal to females out there who want to start DJing. Well, this is your chance right now. And
I do feel we need to have more female DJs in this country.
Why do you feel that though? Because there's only one, or there's need for a market like that?
There's need, actually. There's need. We need more female DJs in this country.
But it's a very competitive thing because DJs is usually known to be guys, and it just seems like this guy infiltrated world. So if a female has to come up, it's like, okay, you either have to be this really tough chick and not sensitive.
Can I tell you something for nothing? Other than Jazzy Jeff, my next DJ biggest inspiration is a lady from France called Lady Style. Nobody scratches better than Lady Style. And she's female, very pretty, very hot, good body, and she just does the thing. You know what I mean? We need females to be in the game.
To be in the industry.
Yeah.
To spice things up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, now still on the note of DJing, do you think you really need to know who you are as a person for you to be able to become a DJ?
I think you need to. You need to have some sort of... you need to be very musical. So if you know you're not musical, I don't think you'll do a good job out there. You need to know yourself. You need to know your weaknesses. Are you able to work long hours, awkward hours?
Do you think it's something that a lot of people can learn though? Because I think we've seen a lot of people do things that they actually learned to do without the talent.
I didn't second in my life think I would ever learn how to DJ. First of all, just the whole equipment that DJs use
Yeah.
looks complicated. There's 1,000 knobs on that thing. You see these guys, we
Just
keep
twisting and
yes.
turning.
So at one point in my life, at no point in my life did I ever think I'll be the guy twisting those knobs. But I learned it.
So anything is possible. If
Anything
you want
is
to do it,
possible.
you can do it.
Anything is possible. The only thing that you need to have, the only thing that needs to keep you going is you need to be very musical. You understand what I'm saying by that?
What do you mean by being musical?
By,
Listen to
when I
music
say
on a
by
daily
being
basis?
musical, it means you cannot say I'm a musical person because you listen to house music. That's just one
Okay.
genre of music.
Yeah.
You need to appreciate a trap record. You need to appreciate a dancehall record. You need to appreciate so many genres of music. So you need that.
And this can be learned, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This can be learned, but it's dependent on how passionate and committed you are to the art.
Okay, so now that we know that everybody can, learn how to DJ as long as you are passionate about it, what do you have planned as a DJ aside from, making your brand into a business?
I said this before. For me, DJing is a challenge. First of all, I want to prove the million people out there that say you can't earn a living out of DJing. I want to prove you're wrong. You can earn a living out of DJing. I'm doing it, and I know another person who's doing it on a bigger level in this country. So as long as I'm here, as long as I'm alive, and as long as I got that guy, we are going to change the game. This industry is gonna evolve to the next level. We're gonna get some international recognition, and trust me, we will.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you're trying to prove a point to people. So obviously you must have had people come to your face or, maybe behind your back tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that. Is that true?
A lot of people come to me and tell me, dude, you used to be a very smart person in school. How did you end up here? I'm like, dude, I probably make more money than you. But you just don't know it, you know what I mean? From this, you know what I mean? So you can't walk up to a person and say, why, you understand what I'm saying? So I do get that a lot. Fortunately for me, my family, I've got the support of my family.
Yeah.
My family understands how passionate I am about music, how passionate I am about the art, and how interested I am to just take it to the next level.
Okay, now speaking of your family, has it always been like this? Have they always been supportive? Because I can only imagine, being your mother and you're telling me you're quitting your accounting job to go and DJ. Was that, did they accept it there and then, or did it take a little bit
Well,
of time?
I thank God for my parents, because my parents are very liberal people. In fact, my dad keeps telling me, even like 3 weeks ago, he was telling me, look, dude, you can do whatever you want with your life. You're a big boy, you're a very smart guy. I trust what you're doing. But even as you go out there being a DJ, as you are today, just be the best. That's what my dad tells me. Just be the best.
As long as you're
the
doing what
best.
makes you happy.
As long as you are the best DJ, you can do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any plans to go maybe into acting or, some other type?
The next thing for me, I guess, would be radio. I want to go on radio so bad. And I'm not going on radio to be a presenter. I want to go on radio to be like the hype for the radio station. Every day people are stressed in so many ways. And sometimes music has a way of speaking to them and they calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy that just brings a level playing field in everyone's life. No matter how stressed, how depressed, like balance up your life. So I'm actually looking for a radio station that I would work with and
just see how that goes.
Yeah, so for me, my next thing on my checklist is
going into radio.
Going into radio and editing music.
Editing music, what do you mean by that?
I want to be able to edit a record, let's say Mark II's record, and edit it to a record that works for me as a DJ.
Oh, okay.
Because look, there's a lot of producers today that actually violate the music principles. You find that the waves aren't right, the grading of the song is not right. So I want to learn how to realign that music into what works for our software as DJs. Because some of those records, no matter how good they are, we'll just play them, but we won't do much to them, effects, will take out a lot of things because they're not properly done. But I want to learn how to be able to edit a song and make it software compatible.
Okay, and finally, last question. So would you say that you would see yourself being a producer in the future?
I would love to be a producer. I love to produce.
You'd love to produce good music that
Yes,
suits your
yes.
software as a DJ as well as
Yes,
just
I'd like to be like
producing
Dr.
music.
Dre. You know?
Oh wow,
Yeah.
you've got big dreams.
My dreams are big.
No, it's very good. It's very inspiring. And just anything you'd like to say before we close off the interview?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want to DJ. There's a lot of people out there that, you know, want to do this, but they can't because of the way things in Zambia are structured. You have to finish school, you have to go to college, you have to get a job. Do not be afraid because you've got a living testimony here. I've done it, I've done school, I've done work, and I'm doing this thing and it's working out perfectly. And just to anybody out there that has never seen me do my thing as a DJ, we actually have a gig on Facebook Live every Thursday at 8 p.m. to 21:30. I start, and then from 21:30 to 23 hours, DJ Hussein
Takes over.
Yes. So we call this the link up. It's a Facebook Live party. Pretty much we set up in our homes and we play music, club music, for people to just enjoy
Chill
on their
and have
phones.
a good time too.
Yes. So today is Thursday. We're gonna do the link up at 20 hours
To 21:30.
to 21:30. Yeah, and then after that we'll cross over to Hussein's page. So just look for VGZ and let's link up.
Let's link up. Okay, well, you heard it straight from BGZ. Link up with them on that platform and get to see exactly what he's talking about. Now, you're still watching In Touch. We will take a break, and on the other side, we should be back.
Chikonkote and his wife Tandiwe come back from South Africa to settle back in Zambia. They take both a year off work and live on their savings as they relax and focus their attention on having a baby. They settle in a closed and exclusive neighborhood. Unknown to them, their privacy is about to be evaded by unsolicited dependents from the extended family, all looking up to their inexperienced pair for guidance and sustenance. Dependents on QTV, Fridays at 20 hours.
Get an unexpected glimpse into the personal lives of your local celebrities, all you ever wanted to know, the rumors, the gist, and much more insight. Join Charlie on the Hitwave Wednesdays at 6 only on QTV.
Welcome back. You're still watching In Touch, and we're still talking about DJs. Now in studios with me, I have another DJ, and he goes by the name of DJ Bank, and he's going to be sharing with us his story, how he started, and well, what he's currently doing. So thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much for having me, Linda.
Okay, so how's your afternoon going? Please, let's get comfortable. Let's talk. How are you doing?
A little bit nervous, first of all. I haven't done TV in
a long time.
In a long while, so yeah, I'm nervous.
Don't worry, you got this. After 5 minutes, you'll be good. You'll be the one telling me what to say.
I hope so.
Okay,
But,
so DJ Bank, when did that start for you?
DJ Bank started about 10 years ago, actually.
Wow, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think the name came up when I was like 12 or 13 years old or something. I had this thing where I used to collect music when CDs came in. So I was collecting music over and over and over and over. And I was like, okay, I'm actually a bank for music. So I came up with the name Bank, and then I was like, what do I love the most? I love playing music. So yeah, DJ Bank. And yeah, I've been using that for some time now.
So basically, DJing started really young for you. Always knew that you'd always have a passion for music.
I had a passion for music, and DJing started at a young age because I had my first gig when I was like 13.
Wow.
That was a birthday party. I really didn't know how to play music in such a professional way. But over time, after I finished high school and stuff, I started working for a radio station. So that's where the consistency, or rather the establishment started from.
Okay, so your first gig was at 13, and obviously years later you've been doing more and more gigs and getting good at it.
Yeah, I have, I think.
You think? Come on, please. So when you started doing, after high school, your parents must have been like, okay, so what's your plan now? Did you know that radio is something that I want to do?
Radio was something that I started doing after I completed high school. Right, my parents were not really up for it because the way it is in Zambia, the radio industry is not as good. So if you're gonna survive, you have to be like really, really good, and you have to beat the competition so that you can make that money to sustain yourself. So my parents were a little bit against that in some way. So I had to find a way of making it work. So that meant extra grants, for lack of a better term, or something like that. But I did do radio from the time I was like 18 for like 4 years.
So you were just a radio presenter, or you were just strictly DJing?
I was a radio presenter, I was a radio producer, and I also did a little bit of mobile DJing, club DJing and the like.
Okay, so what type of DJ are you right now?
Right now, I am not really a DJ per se because I've been off radio for like 8 months. Got on some sort of school break, and I haven't gone back since, but I'm yet to go back anytime soon. Mostly, I would say I am a radio DJ who centers in somewhat urban music.
Urban music. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
urban music.
So you just mentioned that you're in school. So what are you currently studying right now in school?
I'm studying sociology and development studies at the University of Zambia. I'm in my 3rd year.
Whose choice was this? Was it your choice, or was
It
it
was
your
my
parents
choice.
telling you, okay, you've tried this radio thing, go do school now?
It was my choice. Like after I started out with radio, school was in the pipeline. Like it was a definite step that I had to take. So I started out with school. I was advised to do mass comm, but then I was like, let me do something else. Like let me get a paper in another field, and then I can still do radio and DJing as a part-time or as a hobby, because it's more of a hobby. And then
Oh, so you being a DJ is not something that you want to take into the future?
I am taking it with me in the future, but I'm taking kind of like I'm aware that you need some sort of papers even though you're a DJ.
Yeah.
So I've put that at the back of my mind, and I'm working on that a lot more than I'm doing on the DJing. Because after I'm done with that, I'll focus full time on the DJing and the media life and the like.
Okay, so just to focus a little bit more on school, you're doing social and development studies.
Yes.
Why that specific course?
I was antisocial some time back. So
Oh, I wouldn't tell. You're not very shy.
yeah, I was antisocial some time back. I don't know where the thing came from. I think even though I say I'm naturally shy, not many people believe me. Right, so I was antisocial because I was naturally shy. I didn't know how to talk to people, so I figured out if I could learn how to interact with people, that would go a long way. So I started doing sociology, but it turns out that sociology is way more than learning about how to
Interact with other
and the
people.
like. So it's diverse, focuses on a number of things. So I opted for that, and then I also did development studies, which basically looks at development in various ways, whether it's mining, agriculture, and the like.
Okay, so how would you like to further your studies? Like, what career do you want to go into after you're done with your studies?
I want to lecture.
You want to lecture people? Oh, so the shy guy is finally going to be the one standing in front of people and telling them.
Complex, but at least you talk to grown people. And they don't really challenge you like pupils and the like. So I think lecture it's kind of like something I would like to do.
Okay, cool.
But
So
I don't know how that would work out with being a DJ. Like, hi, good morning, class.
Yeah.
I'm a new lecturer, and I'm also a DJ. So I don't know how that's going to work out.
well, I think it's gonna work out quite well. You'll be one of those different lecturers, the interesting kind, the ones that people actually want to know about.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
Now, speaking more about you being a DJ and you know trying to get yourself out there, what do you think about the competition part of being a radio DJ, or whether it's just DJing in general?
The competition of radio DJs is there. You'll find that there are some people that are actually DJs, but they're not, what can I say? For lack of a better term, I would say they're not really that in the popular scene, because being a radio personality means you have to brand yourself in such a way that you are an attractive package so people can come follow you. But you find that there are certain people that do radio for a living. Right, so that kind of like messes up with the entire thing of being a radio presenter and so on and so forth, and that makes competition a little bit more But at the same time, if you're really good and you know how to move around it, you can use that and make your career better.
Okay, now seeing that, obviously is a very competitive place, how do you, with your, your very shy and timid personality, how did you even think, okay, how am I going to make it here?
I love music. I love making people feel good. Like the way music hits me, it's like it just goes down my spine. I wanted
Wow.
to make people feel that.
Wow, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense.
So-
Now, seeing that, I've asked this question so many times to like multiple people, do you feel like you have to know who you are before you get into this industry?
I think everyone should know who they are. 'Cause, like if you don't know yourself, and the way media is, there's a lot of influence from all corners. So you have to know who you are, what you stand for, believe in that, and then go out into the public. Because then people will be pushing you from all corners, and you won't know how to protect yourself, how to defend yourself, and how to move from point A to point B. So I think it's extremely important. It's vital that you know who you are, what pushes you, what takes you on the line. That way, it will be easy for you to go into that path.
Okay, do you feel that was the same experience you had, or did you already know who you were before you went into radio?
Nah,
You
I didn't
didn't.
know.
I want to hear this story.
I only knew afterwards. Like I didn't know. For me, radio was just like it was passion. So when I got that opportunity first, I went for it. And it's only after time, after spending some time in the media industry, that I actually started to know myself a little bit better than I did before. So yeah, it kind of like helped me move around in life.
So obviously there must have been, some things that went down that made you actually realize who you are as a person. Did you have any specific challenges that you had undergone?
Yeah, I did. There were a lot of artists that would bring music to the station. And like, this is fire. Listen to this. It's fire. And then you listen to it and you're just
Not so fire.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that taught me how to actually listen to good music. It made me realize that music has different audiences. And not all bad music is bad music, and not all good music is good music. So that kind of taught me how to filter music and bring it, get that music and put it, send it to the right direction in terms of the listeners I wanted to have for my shows.
Okay, what would you define as good music?
Good music.
Your personal definition.
First of all, when you're listening to good music,
Yeah.
some part of your body should move. Like you should jive to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's good music. Some part of your body should move. And of course, speaking as a producer, I think the sound should be on point. The way the song was balanced, mixed, mastered, produced, and the like should also, that's kind of the other aspect. But as an ordinary person, I think good music should have something, should leave an impact right, on someone. It shouldn't just be, okay, there are certain songs that don't say anything and we jive to them, but I think good music should leave some sort of impact on someone, one way or another, emotional, spiritual, and the like. It should have some sort of impact.
Okay, now you mentioned just now about the other side, the mixing and the mastering and how the song is done. So you said you're a radio producer as well, just music and radio?
I was a radio producer. I was producing the station's adverts. Like most all the imaging that was going on here was passing through me. I would do the jingles, I would do the show promos, I would do the adverts and the like. So it's from there that I learned how to produce, listen to the balance in songs, because you'll be listening to something, the vocals are high, the beat is low, and sometimes it's the other way around, and so on and so forth. The artist or the song wasn't mixed properly, wasn't arranged properly. You find that where the beat and the vocal should be, the vocal is either ahead or behind, and the like. So I learned that from doing adverts and the like.
And that's when you went into now producing music?
I haven't done music production just yet.
Is that something that you would like to go into?
I would like to go into music production. I'm still learning how to make beats first of all before I can venture into music production. But that's like a plan for a future me.
Okay, so who would you say inspires you right now, or was your inspiration for you to actually go into music?
My biggest inspiration for radio came from LBC. I used to listen to him every morning before breakfast. Would be going to school in the morning with my car, and I'll be on QFM listening to LBC. That breakfast show, basically, it's even though I was a DJ before, that that inspiration I got from LBC was what actually pushed me to join radio. It's like I was addicted to radio. Every morning I would get into the car, switch on the radio. I would get into the car as early as 6.
Just to listen to the radio.
And wait for my mom to join me at 7 when we would leave home. That hour I'll be in the car listening to LBC on the radio. And sometimes when I get to school, there are days when I would stay outside just to
continue listening.
Just to listen to
it. Was that deep?
It was that deep. He basically inspired me to do radio. The radio part just came from LBC, and there are a few people as well that inspired me, like Kenny Tonga, because of his presenting style, and if you like the likes of Cash Group and the like. These are some of the people that have really inspired me where radio is concerned.
Okay, now with such heavy inspiration, what do you want to do about that inspiration aside from what you've already done?
I'm secretly working on a number of projects that have to do with the media, radio, TV, and the like, that I really want.
You really want to share right now?
Not just yet. But there's one particular one that I'm currently working on. It's called Melanine Media. It's not really a radio, TV related, but it's an events company that's basically specializes in events planning, hosting, and the like. And that's where the connection with media is coming from, because we have a few partnerships with radio stations where we host events for them and the like. Yeah, so this is one of them that I'm working on.
Okay, so that's something that you're personally working on?
Yes.
Now, speaking of events, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people who are also doing events, and the question I always ask is, everybody's doing events, so why you right now decide to also dive into this?
Because it's the same thing. Events are the same thing in Zambia. And that's where everyone is going.
Don't you think that's sort of like overcrowding, or it's just one in the same thing, everybody's just doing the same thing?
It's not really overcrowding, because I know the service I'm offering is
quite different.
Like different and better than what others are doing. Like, we work with time management. That's like a vital point.
You don't think there's lots of time management right now?
Nah, not many people are working on time. Like, they really don't care about time. So that's one thing that we're working on. And there are certain things that like, if you probably get someone to do something for you, they'll give you this, and then they'll say, okay, these other packages are separate, but we're grouping them, and we're basically giving other packages for free. That one thing, because what we're trying to look at is offer quality services, and then the rest will follow.
Okay, so you don't feel like, the other people that are doing sort of the same thing right now do not offer quality service, or they don't understand exactly what it is they're going into?
From my past experiences with a number of events I've been to, quality services haven't been there. So it's from there that I decided, let me also dive into events and look at the mistakes that these guys have made and make them better. So that's my point.
Okay, so basically it is running a business. Have you taken any course in this direction, or this is just something that over the years you've learned and you've picked up and you think that you can actually do this?
First of all, it sprang from interest. So from interest, I studied a little bit about it with basic online research. And then recently, I started a course, under development studies, that looks at entrepreneurship. So that's like going to be part of my qualifications when I graduate.
Wow, okay. So everything's just interlinking perfectly.
It's interlinking perfectly. I don't even know how. Still baffled.
Okay, wow. But what are your thoughts on, young entrepreneurs in Zambia right now, seeing that that's something that you're about to dive into?
Young entrepreneurship in Zambia should be embraced. I think the government should also look into this, where they should just support them, just get a huge pile of money and just say, take it, do whatever you want to do with it, and then all we want to see at the end of it is results. Because young people are the future of this nation, right? There are a number of young people that are doing very okay, and I think we should support them as much as we can. And it's a big thing. Young entrepreneurship should be embraced. I'm happy with a few people that are supporting young entrepreneurs, and I'm extremely grateful for them.
Okay. Have you faced any challenges so far as, you've been trying to, just get your work together?
Yes, I have. And most of them are coming from me.
What are these challenges?
I like to sleep.
We want to hear these challenges.
I like to sleep.
And you don't want to give up your sleep?
It's a battle. It's really tough for me to get out of bed. That's one of the major challenges I have. And there are times when I have work piling, and I would watch it pile, and I was like, should I work on it?
So you're a procrastinator, yes, naturally
procrastinator, and it's a bad thing.
It is a bad thing.
I've tried to work on it, but it just follows me everywhere I go. But I find ways of avoiding it. I find ways of getting things done and the like. But that's on my part. Challenges I'm facing from other people is that all this while we've been operating quietly. We've tried to approach a few people, offer them ideas on how best they can sell their products and services and the like. But it turns out that they already have their own preferred people to send, or rather to ask to sell products on their behalf. Even though we also have the skill and manpower to do certain things, you find that they have their own people and they prefer getting them. So it's kind of hard to share contracts per se for a certain product because someone already has their own preferred person. Like.
So how do you plan, on moving forward with these challenges? Because I mean, there's going to be multiple challenges, and this one was, the current challenge. But how do you plan on moving forward with this?
Well, my plan for that is it's pretty simple. Look for another client.
Look for another client.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one. If it's not working out, you just pick up and move on.
Yeah, pick up and move on, but go back again, see if you can get them, and then if they don't want, just move forward, but still go back every now and then.
Okay. Yeah. Now, obviously, you've had to, write down a couple of goals, a couple of things that you want because, you've accomplished so much from being a radio DJ to doing, many other things as well. So how is it important for people who don't really understand the importance of having goals and being ambitious?
Well, someone once told me some time back that when you plan something, it's like 50% of the work done. Which is basically that. Like, if you know, say, when I wake up today, I'm going to go to the bank, pass through the shopping mall, then I'll go for work, then I'll go pick up my daughter from school and the like. So, when you plan like that, it's easy. You know that when you get to point A, the next step is point B. So you easily move from one point to another.
Yeah.
But if you haven't planned, everything is all jumbled up. So it's kind of hard to work in such a way. So that's why I advise that as much as life cannot be planned, try to plan and then let it play itself out as well. Because planning is extremely important. Even businesses need to plan. Like, a bank won't give you money if they don't know your plan.
Okay, so also for the people who, sort of get discouraged by the obstacles and challenges that they face, doing, whenever it is that they want to go out and do something, what is your take on that? Because obviously you've experienced quite a number of challenges, even coming from yourself.
Yeah, sharpshooter. Life is not easy. Yeah, it's go hard or go home. It's either one.
And you've had to make this knowledge apply to you?
Yes, I have. I have in a really hard way. Like, I tried to avoid it, but it couldn't work out. That's why I was struggling with either sleeping or going for work. And the past year, I opted for sleeping. It didn't do well because I missed out on a lot of opportunities. So right now, I'm in that go hard.
So if you basically sleep, you lose out on opportunities.
You lose out on a lot.
Okay. Now, obviously, a lot of things, there might be a lot of things that you have to sacrifice, as you're trying to, run a business or start up a business, as well as doing many other things as well. Do you think keeping the right group, obviously keeping the right group of friends is appropriate for anybody who wants to succeed, but did you ever feel like at a certain point you just wanted to keep people around to make them happy?
Yeah, I did, but then I realized that if I keep certain people on, I won't do much. So I had to cut some people off, and they're really not happy with that.
And how was that experience for you? It's never really good for anybody to, cut people off.
It's not. It's really painful because you create a bond with people, but then you have to come out of yourself and look at the situation and say, is this person beneficial to me? Like, what am I learning from this person? What am I teaching this person? And if your answer to that is nothing, then you really have to cut them off. Like, there are certain friendships, relationships that I had to let go of because they were not beneficial. And some people were like, you're full of yourself, you're rude, you're mean, and the like. But we weren't learning anything from each other. You would move together from Monday through to Monday, and you're just talking about 10 ups. So what are you turning up for? What have you done to celebrate?
Yeah.
And the like. So I've started interacting with a few people that are business minded and focus on education and the like. But to be honest, we don't really have that much in common. But I hope I'm not that person that they eventually cut off because
you don't want to be the one on the other.
Like, I'm afraid I may be the person that they have to cut off.
Yeah.
And the like. But constantly working on improving oneself is utterly important as well.
Okay, now how do you constantly, work at improving yourself?
I'll say this week I'm supposed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I don't do any of those, I have to ask myself, what is it that has caused me not to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And I have to work on that. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Working on oneself is really not easy. It's easy to judge what someone else is doing, but working on oneself is really not easy. So you have to actually sit down with yourself, like this, for 5 minutes before you go to sleep, preferably when you're sitting in bed. Just think, say, what is it that I haven't done, and what is it that I can do to better myself? Like that really helps. I found that it's helpful. It's actually there in the Bible where it says meditate every now and then, even though it says meditate on the word every now and then.
You've just taken it and added your own twist to it.
Like apply it to myself and it's helpful. It actually works.
Okay, so there's this phrase or word that I learned yesterday, and it's called introspective thinking. Is that something that you do? Introspective thinking, looking at thyself, meditating.
Yeah, no, but even though we're in school, we're not really that educated with the
but
big
it's
terms.
similar to what you're telling me, because I can see that you do a lot of thinking about yourself. You write down basically whatever it is that, because you've mentioned a lot of struggles that you've overcome. So I think that should be, the specific word, introspective thinking.
I have to look at it. Like, this is the first time I'm actually hearing it.
Okay, but do you believe in, obviously you believe in, looking at yourself and trying to better yourself, but how important would you say it is for the people who don't really know the importance of it?
Well, it's more like you're trying to sell a product, yeah? The only way you successfully sell that product is when you know it. And in our everyday lives, we're trying to sell ourselves. So the best way to sell yourself is if you know yourself, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, know what ticks you off and the like. So that, when you know yourself, you know your worth, you know how to carry yourself from point A to point B. So it's very important. It's utterly important. And last weekend I attended a poetry show. I was talking about love and the like, and they said you cannot love someone else unless you love yourself. So I think that can also be applied to the, what's the term again? Introspective thinking.
You've forgotten already.
It can also be added to that. I think they're in sync.
Okay. So you just mentioned poetry. Is poetry something that you're into?
Well, of late, yes. It's
why the sudden interest in poetry?
I never used to give that much attention to it because it's like there were emotions flying around the place, and
you don't want to catch any feelings at that time.
Because at that poetry event I attended, it was really emotional. Like these guys, when someone is talking to you and then they make the words breathe, like they have life. That's what these guys were doing.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. That was my first ever poetry event. Second, actually. Second, that was that emotional. So poetry is, like, I like it. I've somewhat incorporated it into a little bit of marketing that I'm doing. It works better because then people get to relate with the words and like, it's deep.
It's deep. It's fine. Okay, so any final words before we close off the interview? Not really, but thanks a lot for having me. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming through. Thank you. All right, you're still watching In Touch, and you heard it straight from DJ Bank, who has talked a lot about what he's been doing, what he's been working on, and future plans. So you are still watching In Touch. We should be taking a quick break, and on the other side, we should be back.
5 times the fun, 5 times the info, and of course 5 times the music. Welcome to it. This is the High Five. High Five. High Five.
Even when I did the Ntongo song, other DJs laughed when they heard this song.
Okay, yeah, I called...
Did you just write an inbox on Facebook and she didn't respond?
The question is, what happened after that? The award still went on.
Teacher taught him dancer. He was into hip hop, man.
Watch High Five every Wednesday at 21 hours on QTV.
Follow 3 married couples on the challenging journey of marriage life today.
I told you that I was going to go and talk to you.
Witness as they cascade through day-to-day issues in a home.
And just where do you think you're going?
Don't miss Shipikisha Club, Tuesdays at 20:30 on QTV. Experience home. Chikonkote and his wife Tandiwe come back from South Africa to settle back in Zambia. They take both a year off work and live on their savings as they relax and focus their attention on having a baby. They settle in a closed and exclusive neighborhood. Unknown to them, their privacy is about to be invaded by unsolicited dependents from the extended family.
all looking up to their inexperienced pair for guidance and sustenance. Dependence on QTV, Fridays at 20 hours.
Get an unexpected glimpse into the personal lives of your local celebrities or you ever wanted to know, the rumors, the gist, and much more insight. Join Charlie on the Hitweb Wednesdays at 6 only on QTV.
With them curls like a Bugatti, I just wanna drive. Oh, and girl, you know, round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop. Oh, round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop. Oh, round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop. Oh. Round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop.
Your heartbeat determines.
Welcome back. You're still watching In Touch, and in studios with me is Phil Chola Muya, who will be talking to us a bit about his life. He has graduated as a lawyer, and he runs an NGO as well as is an entrepreneur. So we should be getting into that world and seeing what he is all about. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
How's your afternoon going? Tell me, are you feeling good? Are you feeling relaxed? It's a Thursday. We're almost close to Friday.
It's been a good day.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good day. My afternoon's been okay. I've been running around, handling clients,
Busy
matters.
as always.
Busy as always, but
Okay.
it's been a good day.
So we're going to tackle the first part about you. You just graduated as a lawyer.
Yes.
Law is something that a lot of people undertake, and yet we see a lot of them fail. But how did you manage to succeed?
I have one answer to that. God. My whole school life, I've always taught my friends and my family, even those that are coming after me, that the only way to make it in life is always trust in God. And obviously, when you trust in God, there are those verses that you read in the Bible. And if you go by the Apostle Paul, he always says he had received grace, but he had not received it in vain. So therefore, in as much as you are trusting God for the route that you're taking in law, you also have to make sure that you labor, because he says, I received the grace, but I labored more than they all. So it's just hard work, determination, as always, as everybody always says. But it takes a lot of you trusting God in everything that you're doing.
Okay, so when did you realize that law is something that you want to do? Was it your parents' opinion for you to do it, or was that something that you genuinely wanted to do?
Basically, it's something that I've always wanted to do. You know, I look at law as something that touches almost everything. Because right now where we are, we're here because of the law. You know, it touches, if you look at the courses that we do in law school, you see that it touches medical law, it touches criminal law, it touches engineering law, mining law, so media law, for example, like we are here. So I just looked at it and said, well, I want to do something that's going to help me in everything that I want to do. So it's something that it's an interest I developed at a very young age. And of course, family, we have lawyers in the family, and so
it runs in the family.
It runs in the family, so I looked at that, and of course, there's good money.
Well, the money is always something to look forward to.
Definitely.
So what kind of law do you do? You mentioned there's media law, criminal law. What law do you major in?
Well, at the firm where I'm working right now, we're more inclined to criminal law, but we do different kinds of law. But most of the cases that we have are criminal cases, drug trafficking, and you know, helping out people who are not able to help themselves. So for the most part, it's criminal law. Yes.
Okay. So still speaking about law and, you know, all this stuff, you obviously had experienced a lot of challenges throughout, you know, whether it was school or, you know, just entering into work. Could you highlight some of those challenges?
At school, I'll start with school. At school, I was in the union, and I was chairperson of the Unzasu EC. And of course, you know how law is busy. The school itself is busy. And we were always told, expected rather, to always be on time and submit your assignments and everything. So my challenge there was how to approximate time and how to allocate time to the activities. Because in as much as you are there, you're learning. You're also developing yourself there, because I personally don't believe that we go to university or we go to schools just for you to get the academic prowess. I believe that you go there and you grab everything that comes along. Your leadership skills have to be sharpened. So all of that put in context. But my major challenge there was time allocation, because I had so much on my hands, not only law but also my side business as well.
Okay, we'll get to your side business later.
Okay.
But for now, what would you say is the biggest reason for, some people who are studying law and you see them fail? What would you say is the biggest reason behind that?
I'll talk for the University of Zambia. Sometimes, law is about being creative. It's about understanding the law your way. In as much as there are principles that you need to adhere to, but also you need to understand that in as much, for example, I'll give you an example, a scenario of you going to court. The judge is a lawyer. The judge has been practicing law for a very long time. And so when you go into court, you are speaking to a fellow lawyer. You just need to persuade that lawyer to think like you. So when you go into law school, get the principles, but understand them for yourself. And that right there is what most people lack with regards law. Because in as much as you are a lawyer and applying all those principles, you have to reason on your own and be able to interpret the law in your own way. And most people fail to do that. They just want to go by the book. And most of the books that we have right now, I would have to say, well, we have some good authors, great authors in Zambia. But some of the books that we use in the universities are written by English people. Even the acts right now that we're following, they're English acts, which have actually been repealed in England. So you find that most people are failing to interpret the law as it is supposed to be interpreted, and in the end, most people don't do very well.
Okay, but it is possible to succeed, seeing that you have succeeded yourself.
Very much possible.
Hard work and dedication, as people always say.
Oh yes, okay. Definitely.
Now, moving away from that, you run a non-governmental organization. Could you take us to that world a little bit?
Okay, so our organization is called BITBAB, BITBAB, BITBAB.
BITBAB.
Yes, but the I is just there for convenience sake for the reading. So it stands for blessed to be a blessing, right? So what we do is we are just a group of young people. We started it last year in February, on the 14th of February.
Okay, so it's been a year.
It's been a year now, and the other day, the other day,
The day before yesterday, yes.
we were celebrating our 1-year anniversary as BITBAB. And it started from myself and a lady called Loza. And we started it, just the two of us, and now we have about 55 young people who've come and be part of it as full-time members. We have also partners who come to us here and there, but most of the time we have those people that come to us and they give in. What we do is we go to various orphanages. We don't restrict ourselves to just one. We go to various orphanages in Zambia. So we have a team here in Lusaka. We also have a team on the Copper Belt. So what we do is we put money together. We put our resources together, and we buy all the essential foods and the necessary stuff. We get clothing, we get shoes, we get books, and we take to these orphanages. We do this twice a month. At least we do it once a month, because we don't go a month without doing it. So we go to various orphanages. And our main focus right now are those orphanages that are, there are Zambians out there that started orphanages just from the goodwill of their heart. And they said, I want to set up an orphanage. And those are our target. We were going to even those that are heavily sponsored. But right about now, we are focusing on those that are started by Zambians. And so we go to them and we help out in any way possible. So very soon we will be having a fundraiser, and we are helping a home in Mapepe. There's a lady called Cecilia, and she started an orphanage called St. Cecilia. So we'll be raising funds and to build a hostel, or rather 2 hostels for them that side. So that's basically what we do. We go to various orphanages and we give foods and clothing.
Okay, now there are obviously, a lot of organizations that do that as well, but what makes this one so different from the rest?
This one is different because, firstly, it's a group of young people. We well, with time, we're going to expand and want a lot of other people to help. But you see, this one is special because it's coming from the young people themselves. We have people as young as 12 years old.
Wow, that's pretty young.
So yes. So you can imagine that this is coming from their hearts and they really want to do this. And also, you know, we are not only girl child empowerment or boy child. It's everyone.
It's all inclusive.
It's all inclusive, and we've come to understand that, you see, when God blesses you, you have to be a blessing unto another person. Hence our name, Blessed to be a Blessing. So that distinguishes us from many other organizations.
Now, how do you manage to run an organization as well as, you know, you still have the work that you need to do? How do you manage to make that work?
Well, as I said, when I was in university, I was a busybody, you know, and I've learned to adapt to the situation. I've learned to allocate my time wisely. And you see, if you want to grow, you don't work alone. You work with people. That's how life is. And I believe with all the hardworking members of BitBab, we've been able to do various things. I'll give an example of last week. Last week we had a venture in Ndola. I wasn't present, but a venture was carried out because somebody in Ndola had the mandate to run with it, because we gave them the duties and they did it.
Okay. Now, still speaking about time management and how you manage to work everything out together. There's friendships, there's work, there's, you know, the NGO, and then there's also relationships as well. Do you think one of these things has to sacrifice for you to make one thing work?
Most definitely.
And
Most
what
definitely.
would that be?
Most of the time, I wouldn't say sacrifice. Well, okay, let's put it as sacrifice. Well, but as I said, you need to know what to do, when to do it. If I know that I'm having a client come to the firm wanting maybe legal advice, or I'm working on a case this week, and I know that there's a venture, all I need to do is maybe assign somebody else in the organization. But how I prioritize them is that I put them at the same level. But I just need to make sure that they are all done. You know, I don't accept the saying that goes, you cannot be a jack of all trades. I believe not to side with that saying. I believe you can be a master at all things that you do, because the Bible says we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. It's all a matter of just allocating tasks to people that you have in the organization, or to people that you have in the firm, or to get permission prior to the organization's priorities. Yeah.
Okay, now I've spoken to a lot of people to know if they, you know, surround themselves with good people, and you obviously sound like one of those people. And I always ask the question, obviously you know the importance of surrounding yourself with good people because you are guilty by association. How, obviously at a stage in your life as well, you had bad company. How did you manage to get past that?
Well, you see, that's a funny question because so many thoughts are coming to my head.
Let's hear them. Let's hear them.
No, I told my friends I'll be on TV, so they're probably watching somewhere. Nonetheless, you see, when you know you have bad company around you, you have to ensure that you do something about it. I don't like to think if you have bad company around you, you better run away from them. No. Even myself at some point, I might have been bad company to some
somebody
people.
else, yes.
But I realized that once you begin to change and do all these good things in life, you need to carry your friends along with you. And that's exactly what I've done. I can tell you that my two best friends from the time we were in 3rd, 4th grade, they are with me as part of the organization. And one of my friends is equally doing law, just like I am. And you can imagine that we've got a plan of going ahead and making up our own law firm. So I'm dragging my friends with me. I became, let me put it in inverted commas, good. And you see, you think your friends are bad company, but they're not. All it takes is you going to them and telling them, say, boy, I think tuangala. What we need to do now is this. We need to make sure that we start serving God. We need to make sure that we start serving our community. we have responsibilities as we are. We are growing old. We're growing up now. So we just need to make up our minds and do the right thing. Well, if that friend still wants to be, a bad boy or stuff like that, you keep praying for them. You keep praying for them. But sometimes it's okay to distance yourself from such people.
Okay.
It's okay.
But have you distanced yourself from such people, or have you just taken them along with you?
I can't say I've taken along everyone. I can't say that because for some of them it wasn't their time. Sometimes people just want to experience things for themselves. So for some people I've just had to leave them behind. Hopefully they find me. Hopefully
yeah.
we get to be friends again. But you see, I'm so serious about my destiny and my destination. I know where I'm going. I know what I need to do to get to my destination. Therefore, if somebody is going to deter me or is going to take me off the path that I've set for myself and the goals that I've set, it becomes a problem. So therefore, instead of them disturbing me and my progress, I'll leave them behind. But I'll keep praying for them. I'll keep praying for them.
Okay. Now, for you, obviously, to know your destiny and, where you want to be, there obviously had to be a lot of self-discovery.
Yeah.
So in the process of you discovering yourself, what were some of the things that you had learned from that experience?
The Bible says, a righteous man shall fall, but he shall rise. This is not talking about a sinner. It's talking about a righteous man falling. So, learning number one that I did is that you will always find distractions that will make you fall. But you don't have to stay down. Get back up. Because the moment you stay down, then you're giving up. So every time you try to do the right thing, to discover who you are and do that one thing that God has set you for, you need to realize that it's not going to be easy. You need to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I realize that sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. I don't accept excuses from myself. I can accept an excuse from you, but I don't like to accept excuses from myself. Not necessarily being hard on myself, but understanding my weaknesses and making it a priority to improve on them. So in as much as you are falling, you're getting back up because you know exactly what your weaknesses are. So next time, if such an opportunity comes for you to fall, you will not fall. So that's one of the things that I've learned along the way, that there will be hard times. There will be hard times that people will laugh at you, or they will think you're a goody. But at the end of the day, you just need to keep on and push on.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I've noticed that you have, made reference to the Bible a lot of times. So obviously you are in this relationship with God, and your Christian life seems to be, flourishing. So could you just tell us when you realized that there is this God who can actually do wonders in your life?
Wow. I have grown up in a God-loving family. My mother is very, very prayerful. So, sometimes I can't even remember when I was not reading the Bible. But of course, growing up, you don't take these things seriously. So I think I'll trace it back to 9th grade. I had a teacher. His name was Mr. Ogada from Nigeria. And every time he would come to class, he would tell us, God is number one. And we would always write on top of our book, God is number one. And I came to the realization that the more you rely on God, the more things become beautiful for you. A lot of young people think they have so much time on earth. By the way, earth is not permanent. A lot of young people think they have so much time on earth, not forgetting that they're actually young people like us who pass on. I don't know if those young people, our fellow young people, get to ask themselves the question, what next? Where do we go? So those are questions I began asking myself in 9th grade. I began asking myself, so from here, if I had to die, because I had a friend in Ndola, God rest his soul, he passed on, and I was broken. And I realized that this was a friend who we did almost everything together. would go look for girls together, play together. And he passed on, and I'm asking myself, so where is he? And I began to think to myself, no, the only way to be sure of where you're going is to follow God's ways. And that's not the only benefit, because there are so many other benefits. Throughout my it's amazing, because you see, there are times at UNZA I did not study at all, and I would go into an exam. Maybe because at UNZA I was a leader in church. Maybe I was attending to cell ministry, or I was attending to one of these other things to do with ministry, and I don't manage to study. And it's amazing how that I'm standing here today, because you see, there's so many things that happened. My law school life is a novel. I can tell you so much about it, and I have so many testimonies. But the most important thing to realize is that we're not here forever. We have a destination, a final destination. And Christianity is not bondage. It beautifies your life. It makes everything so easy and so beautiful. Some people see it as bondage, because then I'll stop this, I'll stop that. No.
Which is the case most of the time. A lot of people think that if you go into Christianity, then you have to stop doing this and that and that.
Well, I like to say Christianity is personal. You have to know exactly what your relationship is like with God. Because let's say if I have a girlfriend, just because I have a girlfriend, it doesn't make it right for the other person to also have a girlfriend, because they don't know what I do, and I do not do in that relationship with my girlfriend. That depends, that will entail the outcome of whether what you're doing is sinful or not. So it becomes very highly personal. It's a personal relationship that you have with God. I cannot stand here and look at a girl wearing a short thing and say she's a sinner. No. She's got her own personal relationship with God. So some things you may have to do away with, but certain things, for me, for example, I still go for dinner at the same places I used to go for. I go with my friends and we sit around and chat. I don't have to be in bondage to think like, now that I'm a Christian, I should stop this, stop that. Yes, you need to stop certain things, but God wants you to enjoy. He wants you to have a lovely life. That's what God wants.
Okay, so I just have to ask this question. You were talking about cell ministries and whatnot, so you're very full-on, hands-on in participation with that. Was that your choice, or was that maybe influence from home?
It was my choice. I left my mother's home about 5-6 years ago. And so the whole time I've been in Lusaka, I've practically been on my own. And sometimes I would go back home in Ndola just to visit. And my mother would be like, "Hey, my pasta, Shani." Mothers make a joke out of it. But she was proud. I could see that she was proud. Nonetheless, it was just my choice. I needed to serve my God with whatever time I had. If I was able to serve in Unzasu, if I was able to be in law school and I was able to do my business, I should be able to serve God in one way or another. So it was basically just my decision.
Okay. Very beautiful decision. And now we're going to move on from all of this and go to the part where you are an entrepreneur. Now,
Right.
Where did that begin for you?
Well, that began a long time ago. My father almost... he hated the idea of me trying to be an entrepreneur. At some point, I remember I had a vehicle at home. It was just parked, and I looked at it and I saw an opportunity to make money. And I took my best friend, one of them is Robbie. I took him and I said, "Boy, you see, we can make money out of this." The car is just at home. It's a van. So we began looking for contracts. First of all, we got the car fixed. We began looking for contracts, and luckily we found a contract to do escort. And we were escorting these big trucks and making about 3,000 a week.
Wow.
So you can imagine that by then I think we must have been like in 11th grade. So we were getting good money at that age, but my father was not for the idea. So when he found out, he had to seize the business.
So you did this behind his back.
I knew what I wanted. I did not ask him, and I did not hide from him. He was seeing the car move, but he didn't know what exactly I was using it for. So maybe, yeah.
You sound like the type to go and get what you want regardless of what anybody's going to say.
I used to be like that, but I have respect for authority. I have respect for authority. Yeah, so it started from there up until now. I stopped for a while because I needed to concentrate on law school. Yeah, but you know, when something is in you, it can't be taken away. So I have still continued with my entrepreneurship.
Okay, so you know, a lot of youth are sort of like undertaking this entrepreneurship thing a lot now. So what are your thoughts on young entrepreneurs in Zambia right now?
I think they should be helped, you know, but here's the thing. If you want to be an entrepreneur, do your wide research on what you want to do. Because in as much as you're doing business, for example, it could be frustrating. You might just be wasting your time. You need to know exactly, you know, some people want to enter business. I'm not saying school is everything, but it's a big something, you know. I would advise my fellow young people, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, the best thing to go about it is, first of all, have a paper. Because even now, we have a company called Maestro Ventures Incorporated, of which I am director of. And now I could walk into a building dressed as I am dressed from work and introduce myself as a lawyer. And people will be able to listen to my story because of the way I introduced myself. Now imagine this is a person who has no papers at all and wants to be an entrepreneur. It becomes a lot more difficult. So sometimes, you know, school might just be a stepping stone for you. You don't necessarily have to use everything that you learn in school, but it's just that important. But nonetheless, as young entrepreneurs, we need to be supported by the people that have made it. And myself, I've put it upon myself to say, look, if there is going to be a workshop on self-development, such by Pastor Cholwe or Chibamba Kanyama or you know, any of these motivational speakers and entrepreneurs, I go there because I want to get the knowledge. So you need the guidance, you need the mentorship for you to be able to carry out your entrepreneurship work very well.
Okay, again, what's your take on mentorship, and do you have anybody to, you know, sort of guide you, because you have so many things going on?
I do. My biggest mentor is my pastor. My pastor is Pastor Cholwe, and he's my biggest mentor. You know, every now and then we have meetings, we have church meetings almost every day. And he's not a man that you can always fear and say, no, he won't attend to you. Even on Facebook, I just message him. If I have something, like I remember the last time I did my consultation was to do with the foundation. I sent him a message, Pastor, this is what I want to do, this and that and that and that. And he was able to respond. If you want to set up a meeting, is there. So mentorship to me is very, very important, because you need to meet people that have already made it in life. You avoid certain mistakes which you could be making because they are ahead of you. They have gone ahead of you. So you don't necessarily have to struggle on your own. It's like, you know, being a pastor, a young pastor, and starting up a church without a spiritual father or a spiritual mentor, that could be very detrimental, because you need somebody to guide you in whatever that you're doing. So mentorship is very, very, very important.
And finally, as we close off the interview, is there anything that you'd like to say?
Well, to those who are listening to me, I always say to them, you see, being born poor and in a poor family is not your fault. It's entirely not your fault. But staying poor for the rest of your life is your fault. Because there are so many things that as young people we can do. So you don't have to sit back and wait for the government to bring jobs to you. No. You need to go out there and look for the jobs and push on until you make it. So don't relax. Don't waste your time on, you know, playing around and wasting money. At the age where we are, I believe between 18 and 35, you should be able to work extremely hard. By the time you are 40, you should be resting in your chair and saying, well, I've made my money and it's working for me.
Thank you so much for coming through and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're still watching In Touch, but we are at the end of the show, and my oh my, what an inspiring episode it has been. From BGZ to DJ Bank to a lawyer, an entrepreneur, and somebody who runs an NGO. Man, it should be inspiring, and I hope everybody out there is inspired just as much as I am. I will be back on Monday with more unique stories to get in touch with people doing very unique things. For today, it's goodbye and see you then.